true meaning of Christmas is toys. At least it was when I was a little kid. Bigger toys and better toys than we were allowed any other time of the year, except perhaps on birthdays. And the way that these toys came to us was quite magical. Early in December, or maybe late November, our mum would begin asking us what we wanted Father Christmas to bring. And we'd either take her to Dorothy Coe's toy shop on Church Street in Manchester, where I grew up, which was like an Aladdin's cave for children. Or we could choose things out of our mum's Freeman's catalogue. Freeman's catalogue was like the internet, but printed on dead trees, because the internet hadn't been invented. Computers and all that kind of stuff only existed in programs like Fireball XL5. This was very analogue back in the day. And what you did, you gave your mum a list of the things that you wanted. Then somehow Father Christmas collected them either from Dorothy Coe's toy shop or from the Freeman catalogue warehouse. And then on Christmas Eve, while we were sleeping, Santa came down the chimney and put the toys in the correct pillowcase. We all had a sack, like a pillowcase with our name on. And when we woke up in the morning, the toys were in the allotted pillowcase, and you normally had some or all of the things that you'd asked for. I have to say, even when I was very little, I had my suspicions about this legend of Father Christmas, because I remember when I heard the story that Santa came down the chimney, I looked at our fireplace and the hole that went up into the chimney, and I was fairly sure that me, a very skinny 5-year-old boy, would not fit up the chimney. And from what I'd heard, Father Christmas was a much more rotund character, and he wore thick red clothing lined with white fur. I was absolutely sure that guy would not get down our chimney. However, an opportunity came for me to meet Santa. We heard that he'd taken time out from his busy pre-Christmas activities, and he'd come to not only Manchester, but he'd come to our part of Manchester, and that evening he'd be down near the shops and we'd be able to go and see him and talk to him. So I thought at last I'll be able to see the real Santa, although I did have some reservations about it. Now what you need to understand is that something happened, and the something that happened was partly because life was very different back then. I don't want to do the whole speech about we lived in a cardboard box, but there was no double glazing. In the winter, when it got freezing outside, we actually had ice on the inside of the window, inside the glass. You had to scrape the ice off the glass inside. There was no central heating. We had this fireplace, and there was a gas fire, I think, in the front room, but the living room where we lived was just a coal fire, and then the rest of the house wasn't heated at all. So when it was cold, it was really, really cold and difficult to keep warm. So on this freezing cold night, when my parents were taking me to see Santa, they wrapped us up in, we had thick socks, I think possibly wore 2 pairs of socks, Wellingtons possibly, and then we had thick coats and sweaters and all sorts of layers, and then we had a scarf, and then the pinnacle of the insulation of children was these balaclavas. We each had a balaclava that my mum had knitted, and it was sort of a wool thing that covered the whole of your head and neck, and there was just a little hole in the front for your face to peep out. And that's what I was wearing when I went down to see Father Christmas. When we got down to the shops, there were people with like a brazier roasting chestnuts, all sorts of atmospheric stuff, Christmas stalls and all that kind of stuff, like a market in a street. And there in the corner near the schoolyard was a sort of tent thing with a lamp inside, and it was said that this was Santa's grotto and we were going to meet Santa there. I actually think that my parents were more excited than I was. Anxious is what I was. Who was this guy? Who would be in the tent? What was going to happen? What did I need to say? Did I need to say anything? So during the queue we took turns, and then it became my turn, and I went in and met this quite thin old man who smelled of cigarettes, possibly smell of alcohol, though I wouldn't really have known what that smelled like at the time. But he clearly had a bag of cotton wool he got from the chemist glued to his chin for some reason. And then this is what happened, and this is why I've never trusted Santa. When my turn came, I went in the tent thing. I don't know if I sat on his lap, I may have done, but he said to me, "What do you want for Christmas, little girl?" "I'm a boy," I said. I corrected him. And there's no way he could recover from that, because I thought, this guy's an idiot. And if there is a Santa, this isn't him. Because Santa apparently is keeping a list of who's naughty and who's nice. You'd think if he had all that information on us, he'd know whether I was a boy or a girl. And then to add insult to injury, he gave me a little present. I opened it and it was a really cheap sort of plastic toy you could get for like threepence down the newsagents. So I then felt, not only did he call me a girl, he was a bit of a cheapskate, and if this was a sign of what he was bringing Christmas Day, it was going to be very disappointing. But the good news is there was a real Santa, and he was far more impressive, and he gave good things. Saint Nicholas of Myra, in what's now modern day Turkey, was an early Christian bishop of Greek descent, and he became famous because of his many miracles and people got their prayers answered. But the main legend that's associated with St. Nicholas is that there was a man in his town who had 3 daughters but couldn't afford the dowry that you had to pay when your daughter got married. And so the alternative was that those 3 daughters would probably end up in a life of prostitution. So St. Nicholas took pity on the father and his 3 girls, and he went in the dead of night and dropped some golden coins through the window. And when they woke up in the morning, they found there was enough for the dowry for the first daughter, and he repeated that on 2 other nights so that all 3 daughters had money for the dowry. So he effectively saved 3 girls from a life of prostitution. And it's this legend that forms the basis of our story of Father Christmas coming in the night to give gifts to people. Unfortunately today, the whole Christmas thing has been so commercialised. Companies spend millions on their Christmas advertising. The Amazon algorithm is hard at work trying to flog you stuff you don't really need. And of course at the moment we're living in a very difficult climate financially, and people feel pressured to buy things they can't afford. Sometimes to buy things they can't afford to impress people they don't even like because it's Christmas. The older I get, the less interested I am in Christmas presents. What I value is Christmas presents. A friendship or a family relationship, and just spending time together to have someone's presence with us over a meal or for a day or on a walk or going to visit somewhere. Those are far more high value, especially in our society where we've got this toxic thing called social media. But it should really be called anti-social media, because even when we meet together, quite often we're not really present with the people that are physically there, because we're all checking our phones and we're in this inner fantasy social media world. So I don't know what your situation is this Christmas, but my advice would be to take a step back. Don't believe fake Santa. That little plastic gift that I got as a kid that I wasn't impressed with, it was Santa had to do that because it was all about the commercialisation. I'm sure my parents had to pay quite a higher value than what that present was worth for me to see Santa. And look what happened. I was disappointed because Santa thought I was a girl and I didn't like his present. So we can waste a lot of money. So I don't know how you would manage that, but this Christmas my focus is on being present with people and hopefully enjoying them being present with me rather than buying very expensive presents. Whatever you do this Christmas, I hope you have a great time. I hope you've got people to spend time with, although you may value your own company, and if that's you and you just want some solitude and that's your choice, then I hope you enjoy that too. Whatever you do, I hope you're blessed and you're rested and refreshed at this Christmas time. Thanks for watching today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell, and then you get notifications of a new video. Go to the website and you can join the email list to get occasional email updates. And thanks for watching today, and let's talk again soon.